Hello and welcome to the very first coding challenge in Python, and for this coding challenge we will be building a simple interest calculator in Python. So for this coding challenge we are going to write our code. So what I have done here is that I have opened up a new project, and in that project I have a file which is called as demo.py. So right now the demo.py file is empty, and here we actually need to write in the code to calculate simple interest depending upon three factors, that is the principal, the number of years, and the rate of interest. So here what we will be doing is that we will be accepting the principal amount, the number of years, and the rate of interest from the user, and depending upon those values we are going to calculate the simple interest. So without wasting any time, let's directly go ahead and let's jump into the coding challenge. So the very first thing which we need to do is that we need to accept input from the user. So first let's go ahead and accept the principal amount. So in order to accept any value, we type in input, and here inside input we specify that we actually want to make user to specify the principal value. So we type enter value for P. So P actually stands for principal, and once we have accepted this value, what we need to do is that we need to store this value into some variable. So in order to do that, what we are going to do is that we are going to save this value in P. So we type P equals input enter value for P. So what this is essentially going to do is that it is going to take the text which is written inside these quotations, and it is going to display this text to the user. And when the user actually enters the value for P, that value actually gets stored in this variable which is called as P. Now in Python, you actually don't need to declare the data type of a variable. So that is one advantage in Python, that you don't need to actually define the data type of any variable. So once we have the value for P, let's go ahead and also save the value of N, which is number of years, and R, which is rate of interest. So what I'm going to do here is, to save time, I am basically going to copy this code and I'm going to paste it twice here, and let's replace this P by N, which is number of years, and this P by N as well, and finally this by R and this P by R. So right now we have accepted the principal, the number of years, and the rate of interest. Now one more thing which we need to do here is that these values which we have accepted here are in the terms of strings. That means if you enter a value for P as, let's say, $1,000, then that $1,000 value is actually present in the form of a string, and you need some way to convert that string value into numerical value or an integer value. And the reason for that is we actually want to perform some mathematical operations on the P, N, and R. So we need to make sure that even before performing mathematical operations, we actually need to convert these values, that is the string values, into integer. So let's go ahead and do that one at a time. So let's first convert P into integer. So whenever you want to convert any string into integer, you simply type in int, and in brackets you specify what do you actually want to convert into an integer. So here in this case we want to convert P into integer. So by writing this line of code, P is successfully converted into integer. Now once it is done, we actually need to save this value, which is the new value of P, into the actual variable P. So we simply type P equals and then the converted value. And also you will see wave-like things beneath the equal to sign. That is because we have not left space over here, and it is actually recommended by Python to use this kind of syntax because it makes the code look much more beautiful, and more importantly, it makes the code readable. So once you have converted the value for P, let's do the same thing for N. So we type N equals integer, and let's pass in the value of N. And finally do the same thing for R. So we type R equals integer in brackets R. So once we have these three values converted into integers, now is the time to calculate the simple interest. So the formula for calculating simple interest is equal to principal into number of years into rate of interest divided by 100. So we simply type in SI. Let's say SI is a variable to store the value of simple interest. So we type SI equals in brackets P multiplied by N multiplied by R, and finally divide the entire bracket by 100. So now we have the value of simple interest stored in SI. So now what we are going to do here is that once we have the simple interest value, we need to simply print out the value. So in order to print out the value for simple interest, we type in print and then simply pass in the value as SI. So that's it, and we actually have the value of simple interest calculated. So if we go ahead and save the code, and if we actually run this code by simply right clicking over here and click on this run option, as you could see, it is asking us to enter the value of P. So let's say the principal amount is $1,000, and let's say the number of years is 1, and let's say the value for rate of interest for this coding challenge, and I hope you guys enjoyed this coding challenge, and I hope you were able to perform this coding challenge on your own. But if not, even then it's okay, because as you are a beginner or as you have just started out learning Python, it might be a little bit difficult, but I assure you that Python is much more easier as compared to other complex programming languages. So that's it for this coding challenge, and I'll see you guys in the next lecture. Thank you.